When you are making your strokes on top of the base mesh, it's important to think about the rhythm. It might be useful to think of the base layer as a river, and the second layer is a current within that river. The overall direction of the second layer moves along the base, but you want to feel it flowing from one apex to another. Another way I like to think of this is, if you've ever played a racing game for an extended period of time, and I'm sorry to those that haven't, but you start to get a feel for the corners of the track. You know exactly when to brake, when to accelerate, and when to drift. You don't follow the road straight down the centre, rather move from one side to the other, sometimes veering off the track. You really start to feel the road. Now, I realise this is a very abstract idea and many people watching this won't have played such games, but this is the best comparison I can give to what I'm thinking about when I'm creating Her. As I mentioned in the previous tutorial, when you're setting your stroke, having it flow linearly from top to bottom is okay, but it's too uniform. You really want her to be this uniform. So I'm going to add another point in the graph so that the taper occurs further down the length of the hers. Not only does this add visual interest, but it also more closely resembles how real Her behaves. It's also important to make sure that your strokes aren't too uniform. It's usually better to try making the apex off-center. When adding variation like this, I try to think about the relative weight of the hair strand I'm working with. So let's say I have a curve in this thick strand and I'm feeling like it's too uniform. I could move the apex up like this, and I've added variation. However, because this piece is thick, I feel like it would be better to move the apex down like this, as though it's somewhat reacting with gravity. You can see this idea in practice already, on the other side. Conversely, I might alter the thin strands higher up like this, since thinner hair is more likely to stray. Now, I know this adds a bit more complexity, but this idea of being non-uniform also applies to the negative space created between the strands. And to go a step further, this all needs to work from every conceivable angle. The gesture, the weight, and the negative space all needs to work together from all angles. Even if the character will never be seen directly from above, the highlights and shadow that it creates in a front view won't look as good if it isn't correct from above. So Her can take a while to do, but rest assured though that once you get the hang of sculpting Her, it becomes very therapeutic and even enjoyable to do. Because this section takes so long to do, I will now put it into time-lapse over the top of some horrendously cheesy royalty-free music. I will create the strands at the front of the head at the start of the next video. Okay, so that's it for this week's video. If you'd like to get a head start on next week's, then don't forget there's bonus goodies for sale. These include all 4 parts of the Her tutorial plus an extra bonus tutorial, an ebook guide which works well for a quick source of reference, the Her model created in this tutorial, and of course the Her brush used in this tutorial, which you can also get hold of separately by visiting my Patreon page. Peace.